Howdy, guys, and welcome to another night of Celebrity Big Brother Season 3. And welcome to Cliff Notes from somewhere outside the Big Brother house. All right, now, we just saw the second episode, but it's day 9, I think, of the house guests being inside this house. We still don't have live feeds yet, so I can't cover the overnights. So instead, I just want to talk about episode 2 a little bit. Just talk a little bit about what we saw. People who may be in trouble, people who seem to be playing a pretty good game so far. There's certainly a lot of people in there that seem like they came to play, except maybe for Chris Katana and Todd Bridges, who seem like maybe they came in to get a little nap time. But we've got a lot of the people that are playing the game, maybe playing it just a little too hard. But you know what? When you're playing with only 11 people to start with when you've only got 29 days, I fully expect and am not the least bit surprised to see people come in with a full head of steam and playing hard from the very beginning. We're getting that. Now let's see how it pans out for everyone. So first of all, just as a recap for yesterday, I'm sure y'all saw it and already know, but Misha won the first HOH. That's safe. And I mentioned yesterday, I think it's important that she had some safety this week because she could have been a target otherwise. But along with safety comes some hard decisions to make at this point in time. And it's funny, the first HOH of a season, it can really work to your advantage. It'll allow you to bring in a lot of people to consolidate power and really put you in a much better position. Or if you don't play the first week HOH correctly, you make too many promises, you try to involve too many people, it can really screw up the whole season for you. Frenchie. Some people played that first week HOH a little bit better than others. Misha, I don't know. It remains to be seen, but we're going to talk about it this evening. So Misha's won HOH. Now, what is she going to do with it? Does she have a well-defined plan of what she wants to do? Or is she going to rely upon other people to maybe make suggestions and go along with some other large groups? Well, we get, seems like Misha's got some ideas of her own that she's going to put together. So we see right off the bat, Misha is talking to Todrick, and she's saying, look, I'm kind of thinking, let's try to keep all the athletic people together because otherwise there's going to be targets on our backs, and we don't want that. So I'm kind of thinking, you, Todrick, myself, maybe Lamar, we all are athletic. Yeah, I know they are. And Misha, I mean, she proved it in the first round. Lamar is going to have some good competitions, but the kind of athleticism that Lamar Odom has doesn't always translate well to hanging on the walls and hanging from ropes and doing some of the stuff that you have to do in Big Brother. But she wants to work with Lamar, and he's happy to work with her as well. So we've got Lamar and Todrick and Misha theoretically working together. And she wants a final 2 with Todrick. Everyone wants a final 2 with Todrick. Everyone wants to alliance with Todrick. We talked about that he was going to be one of the people that it seems like everyone's viewing him as a winner pick. Seems like the people inside the house are doing the same thing because Misha certainly wants to work tightly with Todrick and Lamar. And that's not all, because later she adds in Chris Kirkpatrick, and then later she adds in Mari in as well. So Misha's trying to assemble an alliance of her own. Which I get. Everyone wants to be in an alliance to start with, right? Well, this season, it seems like everyone is getting to start off in an alliance in week number 1. How loyal the other people may be or not to you, that's what we'll have to find out. So we've got that. But Misha's not the only one trying to create an alliance. We've got Chris Kirkpatrick, who also is proposing an alliance with Todrick. Again, everyone wants to get Todrick on their dance card, so to speak. We've got that. We also have Mari and Teddy that are proposing an alliance to Todrick. And that also includes pulling in Cynthia. Now, remember, we saw last episode, we already had Carson and Todrick and Cynthia and Shayna in an alliance. What are they called? The Fierce Girls and the Gays, the gay guys, I think. So that was kind of their group at the time. But now Mari and Teddy are saying, hey, we'd like Todrick to get you in and along with Cynthia. They mention that to Cynthia. Cynthia immediately mentions to the two of them, says, oh, yeah, well, Todrick and I already kind of formed a little alliance. And, oh, yeah, it involves Carson and Shayna as well. So now the idea is to go ahead and add Mari and Teddy as well. So that original group of 4 we saw last night expands by 2. Now you've got a group of 6. They're calling this new alliance the Formation Alliance. Yeah, okay. I like the Fellowship Alliance a little bit better, but they're going to be the Formation Alliance. 6 members. Now, a couple of points. First of all, if you're Mari or Teddy and you approach 1 or 2 people and say, we'd like you to be in an alliance with us, and they say, oh, well, that's great. We've already got an alliance of 4 of us, and y'all come on in as well. All right, here's the deal. If you propose an alliance, you find out there's already another alliance. Yes, they may welcome you in for the numbers, but you got to think you're going to be on the bottom of that totem pole, right? That those other 4 formed first. Probably you're just some add-ons that may not carry quite as much weight. I'd be a little bit nervous about that. Here's the other thing. An alliance of 6 people in a regular Big Brother season with 16 house guests, 6 may be about the right number that you need for an alliance. When you only have 11 members in the house, 6 seems like a little bit of overkill to me. Because remember, right off the bat, 11 house guests, 2 people are going to be on the block eviction night. 1 person's going to be the HOH. That means only 8 people are voting. You really only need 4 people and the HOH's tiebreak your vote to control the house from the very beginning. So they may be over the max number for alliance members by a spot or 2. I think they need to be a little bit careful, but they've got a 6-person alliance there. They're very excited with it. So we see that. Now, getting away from the strategy for just a minute, you don't ever get away from the strategy in Big Brother house, but we see Todd Bridges on night number 1 sleeping in I think it's in the cuckoo clock room, sleeping in a room, snoring away. Chris Kattan is awake because of it. I think Mari is laughing about it as well. I gotta say, that's no laughing matter. I spent the first couple of nights in the house scared to death that I was going to snore enough to irritate other people in the house, that maybe they would put me up just because of my snoring, just to get a little peaceful night's sleep. And we see Chris kind of making fun a little bit, talking about it with Todd. But as much as he laughs about it, I think there's always a little bit of grain underneath of him truly maybe wanting to send Todd out just to get rid of the snore. It doesn't take much to put you on someone's target list inside the house. So I relate to Todd Bridges. I snored while I was in there, and it scared me to death. But we saw that. It was actually pretty funny. All right. So now we see Misha planning a little bit what she wants to do. We hear names mentioned, and they're names that I suspected from last night. Teddy, Todd Bridges, Chris Kattan, all 3 are mentioned. They just don't have the connections, the social game, I don't think, with everyone else. They're in trouble. All 3 of them are going to be in trouble for the first half of this season. So now we get to the big mystery from yesterday, from last night's episode, that gala gift box, right? Julie promised be heaven for someone and punishment for someone else. I'm not remembering exactly how she said it, but good for someone, not so good for someone else. Well, it turns out the box just has some kind of, I don't know, it's like a Hogwarts sorting hat or something. You put on the hat over your head, looks like a bonbon purse or something. That's what they call it. But you put on the purse on your head. Whoever ends up with the purse at the end of the afternoon or the evening has safety for the week. Sounds pretty cool, right? But here's the kicker. Misha has to give it to someone else, who then immediately has to hand it off to someone else, who hands it off to someone else, until eventually the very last person that puts on the hat is the one who wins safety. It's kind of interesting because it forces you to expose yourself a little bit, although it's easier for Misha and some of the early people because you just pick someone, and you pick someone that you don't want them to think that you're viewing them as a target. You don't want to pick someone that seems like too tight with you. Just pick some random person. You're probably okay. But at the end, it gets a little bit tougher. And sure enough, it turns out Mari has to decide. There's 2 people left after Mari's wearing the hat. And it's either Cynthia or Shayna. And she has to pick who to give the hat to, which means the other person's going to win safety. And she decides that, first of all, I don't think it really matters. Neither one of them, I believe, is going home. But she ends up picking Shayna to give the hat to, which means Cynthia has protection for the week. Well, congratulations, Cynthia. I don't think you needed it, but she does have some protection. So we get that. We see a little blurb with Carson kind of telling Toddrick telling Carson, or talking about Carson, saying, man, he's talking to me too much right there in front of everyone else. We see a lot of people doing a whole lot too much talking during this episode. And trust me, I know what it's like to do a little too much talking, but we do see a little bit of that. And Todrick's a little worried that Carson's whispering to him about, oh, who should we give it to? Should we target each other to make it look like we're not working together? And Todrick gets it. Everyone notices when people are whispering during certain situations. So he's a little worried about that. Now, here's the thing. All right, I guess this is an interesting little twist and all, and there's more to it that we'll talk about in a second. Here's what I wouldn't like inside that house. They all one at a time have to put this hat on. I'm very particular about hats. Yeah, I got my cowboy hat on. I'm not a big fan of sharing hats with other people. The idea of every single person in that house putting on a hat and then passing it to you to put on kind of gives me the creeps, kind of gives me the heebie-jeebies. I'm sure they're all healthy and hygienic and all that. Still gives me the heebie-jeebies, but whatever. You do what you have to do in the house. But anyway, Cynthia has safety. She wasn't going to be a target anyway. But then here's the kicker. We hear that there's a curse attached to the hat. Remember, Julie said, so good for someone, not so good for someone else. There's a curse that supposedly could send someone home on eviction night that wasn't even nominated. Now, that would make me all kinds of nervous hearing that, because what kind of twist do they have going on? Does that mean that someone who's nominated is still going to go home? There'll be 2 people going home tomorrow night? Don't know. We're going to find out tomorrow night. But this may be some of the reasons why we haven't gotten live feeds until after the eviction episode, because there's these little twists and we don't want to hear. I'm sure they don't want us to hear too much about it until the episode itself. So we got that. So now we see Misha telling Mari that she wants to put up Chris Kattan and Todd Bridges with a plan to backdoor Teddy. I get it. I mean, that's a legitimate plan. I thought she was probably going to go after Teddy based on what happened in last night's episode and all that. So it seems like a perfectly viable solution. But then she turns around after that, kind of backtracks a little bit and says, hey, look, the more I think about Mari, we may need someone powerful in this veto competition to make sure that we control what happens, because we really need to win it so that we can use the veto, pull one of those guys off and put Teddy up instead and backdoor her. Yeah, again, it's an okay plan, but now she's talking about putting Mari on the block as a pawn just to make sure that Mari competes in the veto competition and she can then control, potentially have a better chance of controlling what happens and backdoor Teddy. I'm not sure I like that game plan from Misha's standpoint, because it's almost too early to throw someone under the bus. And whether she truly thinks Mari is a pawn or not, just by mentioning Mari's name or mentioning to Mari that she wants to put on a block, it's going to create a little bit of friction. I just don't think it was that necessary this early in the week. What's the worst that's going to happen with Misha? If someone wins a veto, she may be able to talk him into using it and put up Teddy. Worst case situation, she still has 2 people up that if either one goes home, no one's going to get upset at Misha with it. So it's not the end of the world. But now by suggesting to Mari that she should go up as a pawn, I just think it creates some worries and nerves that don't need to be created. Mari's kind of saying, let's talk about it. We'll see. She doesn't say it's okay with her, as she shouldn't. Pawns go home sometimes, right? We all know that. But they leave it at that. A little too much overplay, I think, on Misha's part. And sure enough, right after that, Mari goes down and tells Teddy, bad mistake. What? She tells her, says, look, you're Misha's #1 target and all of that. Unless Mari and Teddy already had an incredibly tight relationship to begin with, why would you go tell the person that is the target that very well could be going home this week? Why would you give them information when they don't have the power right now? As long as it's not Mari that's going home, at this point, just let it happen however it happens. Don't get involved any more than you have to. Well, Mari doesn't do that. She tells Teddy, and sure enough, then Teddy turns right around and tells Toddrick. And of course, Toddrick he's in this alliance with Misha. Toddrick's in a lot of alliances. Toddrick is he going to be the Tyler Crispin of this season? I don't know. He's like Oprah Winfrey. You got an alliance, you got an alliance, you got an alliance, you got an alliance. And they all involve Toddrick, it seems like. But Toddrick turns right around and tells Misha. So now Misha knows that Mari can't be trusted. When you lose trust in this game, it makes it tough to work with anyone if they don't think that what they tell you is going to stay private. But information is golden in the Big Brother house. You got to keep those lips sealed, and Mari didn't do it. And I think she may very well pay the price as a result. So Toddrick's told Misha. Misha's lost all her trust. And Teddy, now Teddy gains by having Mari come telling her about this, because now she can kind of figure out what she has to do. At one point, she said, "Yeah, I'm not going to kiss up to." I'm not going to kiss up to Misha. That's not going to work. That's not who I am. I get it emotionally. Who wants to have to go do that and kowtow to someone that maybe don't like in the first place? But if she thinks about it, she realizes that you're talking about saving your skin in the game, and so she ends up talking to Teddy or to Misha and saying, "Look, if you'll not put me up this week, I'll make a promise to you that I won't put you up when I get the opportunity." It's kind of a weak offer. Normally, this week and a certainty means a lot more than a possibility that I may win next week, and maybe I'll honor it, maybe I won't. I mean, I really think she needed to bump that up a little bit and say, I'm making you a promise. I'm not going to put you up until we get way into this game, or never at all. Yeah, promise whatever. But I'm not sure it was such a strong offer that Misha is just immediately go, "Oh, that's fantastic." Although it does seem like Misha is certainly considering it. And Teddy thinks that it's worked, that she's probably going to be okay because of it. I'm not sure, though, because here's the thing. Misha's considering, but I'm not sure that's the best thing, because I think that whether she accepts it or not, whether she puts Teddy up this week or not, it doesn't matter. The die's already been cast to some degree. I think that Teddy is going to remain nervous and worried and concerned about Misha no matter what. If you allow Teddy to stay in the game, I think eventually she may come for Misha. So target-rich environment. If Misha wants to accept the deal just because she figures she can go after other people easy enough, well, that's okay. I don't think there's any huge reason that you've got to get out Teddy right now. But that doesn't mean that you need to start working with her and thinking that she's your best friend either, because I just don't think that's going to happen this season. So take the deal if you want, but be warned and be cautious. I think that's what Misha needs to do. But anyway, so they've talked about it, and Teddy's at least trying to soothe out some situations and do what she can to stay alive in the house. I love watching people make deals and fighting to stay alive. That's what Big Brother is all about. Teddy may not be the person that's most in trouble. Obviously, now that Mari's been exposed, she's in trouble. But Misha, she already has bounced around a little bit. Well, she's come up with yet another solution to the game, and that's this. She approaches Carson and she tells Carson that, "Hey, everyone loves you. You are not going home. No matter what, you're not going home, Carson. So I'd like to put you up as a pawn because I know you'll be safe, and it's going to make sure that who I really want to go home goes home." Well, Carson knows that you don't want to be a pawn, but I think he also probably thinks he would be safe no matter what. But he hasn't agreed to it, but you can't really say no either. It's up to her. She says, "Look, you're going to go on the block. I'm not going to tell you anything else beyond that, but when you see who's up against you, I think you'll understand." And with that being said, we get to the nominations, and nominated this week, Carson, as expected, and Mari, not really unexpected after watching her get exposed as sharing information she shouldn't have been sharing. So I don't know. So those two are up there. Carson's not the target. Carson's not going home. If I'm Mari, here's the thing. When Carson gets put up against Mari, she should immediately hear the alarm bells going off. If it's Chris Kattan or Todd, then you think, well, they don't have the connections. If Mari's up against Carson, she better be thinking the right person needs to win this veto, or else I very well could be going home. She's in a bad situation. If she wins veto, she pulls herself off. Then I think Teddy probably takes her place and Teddy goes home. Otherwise, I think Mari may be our very first person going home, Big Brother season 3 celebrity version. And I know a lot of people don't want to hear that. I was excited to see how she was going to do as well. She's a fun person. I mean, she seems like an incredibly friendly, nice person I'd love to hang out with in the house and hear stories and all of that. But she just talked a little too much to all the wrong people, and now I'm afraid she's going to pay the price. Now, here's the thing. We saw Misha talk a lot of different plans with a lot of different people, and it seems like maybe she's overplaying, which I said earlier. But remember this, she won HOH on the very first night. We're now in, what did I say, night number 9. By the time we have evictions, that's 10 days that she's been HOH. That is a long time to be in HOH. You have a lot of time to to consider options, to see relationships changing, everything else. It seems quick to us because we're just getting it all squeezed into a 1 hour episode. For them, they've been in the house for over a week. And so some of the overplay we see from her is probably just because we're looking at activities all the way from day number 1 till, I don't know, day number 4 or 5, whenever they had the nominations and such. So yeah, it's been a long time. It may not all be Misha. It's just the extended period that happens with the first HOH of the season a lot of times. But with all that being said, I think Misha's tried to play a little too fancy. It shouldn't be that hard for the first week. You pick out 1 or 2 people. No one's going to be too offended about getting out. You use that as an opportunity to build up a power. You don't have to get too fancy with it. I think maybe she's done a little bit of that, but we'll find out. Tomorrow night's the eviction ceremony. We'll find out about this curse of the gala box and how that may or may not affect someone else. I know it's going to be an exciting night. And then after that, we get the live feeds, and that's why I'm really excited. We'll talk the overnight live feeds going forward, hopefully. Guys, y'all have a fantastic Friday, last day of the work weekend. We've got Big Brother again tomorrow night, and then I'll talk to y'all the next morning as well. Guys, you have a great one. Cheers, my friends. SKD 143.